Hi, I'm Tim White, and welcome to our Friends Heritage Project. This is a construction kit that we've kind of put together for a leader to lead a discussion about Friends history. Chapter 1 is going to be the Friends, or Quaker, we use that term interchangeably, their place in history. And we're going to also introduce some Quaker terms.
I'm Philip Cox. In Chapter 2, we're going to talk about some famous Quakers throughout history. We're going to call them Quaker aristocrats. Look at some of the things they were famous for, and look at some of the influences that they had on history. Chapter 3, we're going to focus on some theology, really looking at the two sources of authority that have been significant for Friends and the implications of those. Those sources of authority are Scripture and also this direct, unmediated relationship with Jesus. Chapter 4, we're going to look a little more at history and really look at the effects that Friends have had on some big historical movements like the abolitionist movement or the Underground Railroad. Maybe also take some time to look at their work with Native Americans and their relief work after World War I and World War II.
In Chapter 5, we're going to talk about sacraments and how the Quakers or Friends look at sacraments. And we're also going to have an example of plain spokenness and some other history. So this is a construction kit that we've assembled for you, the leader, to present. We think it's got some great content. There's a lot of written material in it. And some of these particular images, for instance, that you see here are important for people to recognize that they've seen these things, but where do they come from? So for instance, you see the Quaker Oats man, or you see the Quaker State, which is of course Pennsylvania.
This slide is going to be kind of a pop quiz. Which of these people is a Quaker? Do the people in your small group know? Actually, only one of them is. It's not the Amish. It's not Ben Franklin. Only Richard Nixon was actually raised a Quaker.
Go ahead.
Next, we've got some famous Friends throughout history. That's George Fox and a couple of other significant Friends icons that you'll want to talk about.
Friends preserved a lot of caricatures of themselves by kind of their opponents. This particular funny one says, "I can't sleep because of my inner light." We'll talk about that in later chapters. Another one is the drawing of the woman who's kind of portrayed as a witch. People belittled the Friends because they allowed women to have places in ministry. And we bring up some of this artwork, and you'll see it throughout the particular presentation that we've got. Now, where did this term Quaker come from? Well, we don't actually know. So there's two explanations for it. We've got all of that written down, and each of these slides has got a body of text that you can read through, find out some interesting facts, and present it as you go through it. Then we have a timeline, and it's important that we feel that people understand where the Friends came from.
Yeah, Friends really didn't originate in a vacuum. They're really a product of that whole late medieval Western European history and the Protestant Reformation, the middle class getting more rights, the Bible becoming more widely accessible, all of that culminating in the English Civil War and later on, or the English Reformation and the English Civil Wars.
Yeah, it's important to recognize that Friends has a unique place in history. They've been very, very significant, but what they came out of shaped them in many, many different ways. Now, each of these chapters has got three parts to it, and we've arrived at the handout portion of the chapter. You'll print out the handout ahead of time. I've got an overview on how to use the handout, and in this particular chapter, we talk about the different terms that are unique to Friends or Quakers. For example, Fox called churches steeple houses, and he called meetings of people churches. So that's a Friends distinction in how they use the vocabulary. And there's a lot of very, very interesting terms and definitions, and I would recommend that you print this out and have kind of a core class discussion around them. And then every single all five of these chapters have got what we call an experience. This particular experience I've written up, it's in a separate handout, and it's how to, I call it a magic trick, how to show people what a silent worship meeting would look like, or an unprogrammed silent worship meeting. It'll take a little preparation on your part to assemble the chairs in the right way, and also to recruit 3 volunteers who, when the meeting starts and there's silence, those people will stand and speak, and there's a script for them to read, etc. They don't have to be impromptu. So that particular worship experience is really a nice one to have for the first chapter, and we look forward to you joining us for the other 4 chapters. Thanks.